Hey everybody, I'm Dean Walker at Creekside Dairy. We're in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, and we are hosting the virtual farm tour this fall on November 25th. Please go ahead and register for that. And in the meantime, drink a chocolate milk, but then you can come see our robots milk the cows.
Good morning, students, and welcome to Creekside Dairy. We are here in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania for a virtual farm tour here with Farmer Dean.
Hey,
Farmer
everybody.
Dean, welcome. We are so excited to have you all here today, but we want to go over a few things first to make your experience the best it possibly can be. So, first thing, be sure to make us full screen so you can see all the cows and the calves and all the fields. The next thing we want you to do is really pay attention with your listening ears. We're going to answer a lot of questions and share a lot of information during the tour. So if you type in a question, we may be answering it soon, just not right away. Now, we want you to ask your questions using the question and answer feature via Zoom. If you're not joining us on Zoom, if you're joining us on Facebook, you can leave us a comment. If you're joining us on YouTube, you guys will just enjoy the show. We promise we're going to get to most of your questions, and you'd be surprised how many other students might have the same question that you do. So we're not going to wait. We're going to get started. Farmer Dean, thank you for being here. Can you tell us a little bit about the farm?
Yeah, so my name's Dean Walker. We own and operate Creekside Dairy here in Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. We milk cows with two Deal-A-Val robots. V300s is the model of them. We're milking about 130 cows. The robots make everything happen 24/7. So basically for me, I'm on call to make sure things are working, and they work well. I'm pleased with the program.
Very cool. Very cool. So students, we're seeing the farm in the background, and we're going to see more of those robots in action, Dean, but let's head over to the cow barn. Okay, so Dean told us he milks 130 cows and he has two robots inside. We're going to see the robots in our next section. But Dean, tell us a little bit about this barn and where your cows live.
Yeah, so this is the freestall barn, and each of these cows, we have cow beds, and you can see the stall loops there. It's like an individual stall. The cow can go in and lay down. We call them free stalls, and they're called free stalls because the cows get to choose what they want to do. They can go in and lay down, and they can leave when they want. And a really cool part about our farm, one of the things I really like, we're using deep bedded sand for the cows to lay on.
Wow.
So imagine that. It's like laying on the beach.
Oh my gosh. Well, this cow looks very comfortable. What in the world is she scratching on?
That's called the swinging cow brush.
Oh, very nice. Now, does that help keep them clean?
Yes, it helps keep them clean, and obviously any itch or scratch that they would have, they can rub over them. And it takes all the loose hairs off. It's kind of like grooming your pet, like your dog or your cat. It's not uncommon to find a lot of loose hair, shedded hair from the cows lying around underneath the brushes.
Got it. Well, they seem to really enjoy that, and they look very comfortable in this freestall barn. So, Dean, you mentioned the deep bedded sand. How long do cows lay down and sleep during the day if they need that comfortable of a bed?
Cows lay down and sleep a lot. Our goal as a farmer is actually the more we can get them to lay down, the better. If they're not eating or getting milked, they should be laying down. So I would say probably on average 14 to 16 hours a day, at least we would like to see them laying.
Oh my gosh. Okay. And Dean, we see your cows. It looks like she's chewing bubble gum. What is she doing there?
Yeah, that's called chew. We call it chewing their cud. Cows actually, what they eat, they actually regurgitate. They bring back up some of what they ate, and then they sit there and chew on it for a while. A cow chewing her cud means that her rumination system, her digestive system is working properly. So a cow chewing a cud, that's a good thing.
Oh, got it. And we're seeing all this deep bedded sand that those cows are laying down in. They look so comfortable in that. So, Dean, we're seeing you have some different colored cows too. What are the different breeds of cows you have?
Well, most of our herd is Holsteins, which is the black and white ones that you see there right now. We do have a handful, like 5 or 6 Jerseys, which are the brown cows. They're a little bit smaller. And the reason we have them is probably just because we kind of think they're cool, I guess.
Yeah.
We've always had a few in the herd, and so we just still kind of do.
Now, Dean, we're seeing these really cool earrings on these cows. What are those for?
Yeah, so the big yellow one that you see there, that's just like a name tag. I mean, we give our cows numbers. So whatever number is on that tag, that's how we identify that cow. If I'm walking through the barn and I need to find a certain cow that didn't come to the robot on time, I'm going to look at that cow. If I'm looking for 109, right there she is. That's how
Got
I know
it.
who she is.
Okay, got it. Now, does she have another ear button in there too?
Yes, beside the yellow tag there, there's another little round white thing that we call RFID. It's an RFID tag, and that's an actually electronic tag that when she walks into the robot or through the smart gates, it will identify her, and all that information will then be tracked back to that cow's number.
Oh, wow. That's very cool and so tech savvy. Now, that little button, does that track, you said it tracks when she comes into the parlor. Does it track how many steps she takes?
No, it does
No?
not track steps. It just
Okay.
tells what the when she walks into a gate, it tells them what to do with her. That little
Oh,
blue tag that you see in the other ear,
got it.
that's the one that tracks her steps. That tracks everything. That tracks how much she eats, how often she chews her cud. If she deviates from her normal activity, in other words, she doesn't do the same thing that she's been doing, that little tag is going to track that and will then alert the farmer that something's not working like it's supposed to be.
So, Dean, she wears that little transponder for her whole time while she lives here, right? So you can
Yes.
track her health all the time, 24/7.
Yep.
Oh, wow, that's pretty cool. Now we
Yep.
got some cows heading over to the water cooler, to the water trough. I mean, cows must need a lot of fresh water, right, Dean?
Yes, they do. Cows, water is very important to a cow. Cows are just like people where you have the need for staying hydrated in the summer, especially, but all year round. So that's a very important part of it. Cows drink a lot of water in a day. A good comparison is about the size of a bathtub, that
Got
they would
it.
drink as much water as is in a bathtub in a day's time.
Got it. Well, we've seen the cows drinking, and now it looks like you're mixing up breakfast for them, Dean. So, what is going into their breakfast?
Yep, that's right. Right here, we're putting corn silage into the mixer, we call it the TMR, total mixed ration. So we have a nutritionist that puts together a plan for us of what we need to put in the mixer to feed the cows, to keep them healthy, to help them produce milk. And we get it out of the trenches there, as you can see, and put it into the mixer.
Oh,
And there
wow.
it's stirring it all up, mixing it all together.
It looks like a giant blender. So, what are we adding? Are we adding water?
And now this is actually whey, which is a byproduct of the cheese process from the
Okay.
milk. A local processing plant close to us is able to deliver whey to our farms for us to put in the mix and feed it back to the cows.
Oh, wow. Okay. So basically, whatever liquid is left over once we've made cheese,
Yes.
that has nutrients in it for the
Yes.
cows. Okay. So we bring that back and actually give that to
Yes.
them.
There's
Got it.
there's a pretty good sugar content in that.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool. Now, Dean, we're seeing you mixed it all up and now
Yep.
we got to deliver it to the cows.
That's right.
So how does this system work? This looks pretty cool.
Yep. So we pull the mixer up beside a little conveyor there. You can see it's moving. We open the door on the mixer and it puts the feed out slowly onto a little conveyor, takes it up the hill. It is then dropping it onto another feeder there that you can see. It's going to take it out, and pretty soon you'll see where it actually has a little plow, we call it, that diverts it off of that, and it drops it down into the feed trough for the cows to eat.
Oh my gosh. So they have basically they don't have to wait for food, right, Dean? They have
Yeah,
24-hour buffet.
that's right.
Oh
A
boy.
big buffet
That
and
sounds
plenty of it.
so besides the corn, Dean, is there anything else that goes into a cow's diet?
Yes, we're
Okay.
feeding sorghum sudan grass right now with the
Okay.
corn silage, but cows, just the same as you balance any other diet, cows needs their diets balanced also. So any type of legume, like a grass or a fiber option, you want to add to the corn silage to help them keep them healthy.
Okay, so we've got some corn, we've got some grass. What else is in there? Anything
And then
else?
we're feeding a grain mix. We're feeding some ground corn. We're feeding some roasted soybeans, and then we're also feeding a mineral pack that would include a little bit of soybean meal and a couple other things like that in there. But
Got it. So that
yes,
would be like our vitamins, maybe the
yes,
little things that are
yes,
left over. Okay, students. So the cow's getting the full plate of food. And oh my gosh, Jean, is this another robot? What is this?
yeah. This is our we call him Barney. He runs through the barn, and it's a robotic manure scraper. And as you can see, he plays in the manure. He's always dirty. It's hard to keep him clean, but
Got
yes,
it.
he runs up and down the alleys and cleans up the manure that the cows make. He moves extremely slow, so if he does bump into a cow, first of all, he'll stop and then he'll go forward again. But the cows have learned to know what he does, that when he gets close to them, they just move out of the road and let him come by.
So let's honestly have a Roomba cleaning up after them.
That's right.
They don't have to make their beds. They get free buffet every day, and we want them to lay down and sleep as much as possible.
Yep.
Wow, that is a pretty comfortable life for those cows. Okay, students, it is time for you to take a quiz. So we're going to bump over to the quiz, and while we do that, we're going to answer some of your questions that you have submitted in. So while you're working on your quiz, some of our students were curious. Does it actually hurt, Dean, when the cows get their ear tags in? Or is it more like an ear piercing?
Yeah, it's more like an ear piercing. It's, if there's any pain, it's very minimal and very quickly goes away.
Got it. So it's kind of like, students, if you imagine, even though they look really big, it's like proportional to the size of an earring we would get. Okay, got it. Got it. Of course. Now, another student was asking, do you buy the robots from people or do you make the robots?
Now, there's a company close to us, a dealer close to us, that sells and installs them, and they're my tech support then too. If I have any problems that I can't figure out, they're the ones that I would talk to.
Got it. Okay. Another classroom, Mrs. Shepherd's class, was wondering, how long do cows usually live?
Well, I like to explain cows' life this way. I'm sure you've heard of dog years, how dogs, one human year is 7 years on a dog. A cow is about 10. You have to remember that cows become adults when they're 2 years old. So if you compare that to people, if you become an adult when you're 18 to 20, that means in a cow, by the time they're an adult, they're like 20 years old. So like we probably get 6 to 8 years out of a cow.
Okay.
Not all cows live that long. Some are less than that. But when you put that in perspective with people, that's like living to be 70 or 80 years old.
Got it. Okay. So another question that our students were asking was, how many acres do you have on the farm, or how much room do you need per cow, maybe?
So for our 130 cows, and then with our dry cows, makes us a total of about 150 adult animals here. I like to say it's nice to have at least 2 acres per cow. 1 acre is about the size of a football field or a soccer field. So we need like 150 times 2. You're gonna need 300 football fields to feed the cows on a typical year.
Okay.
Here on our farm, we are farming a little over 400 acres right now. So that helps us be able to diversify a lot on our crops, that we don't need everything that we grow. We usually have some to sell if we have a good year where it rains good and things grow well.
Got it. Okay, awesome. So now you students know how big the farm is and how much space we need. We learned about that it doesn't hurt when the cows get an ear tag, just feels like an ear piercing. And we also learned about how long cows live. Now, students, it's time. I see some of you asking in the questions about how much milk these cows make. Well, that's coming up next. Let's head to the parlor, Dean. We're headed off to the parlor today to go see the cows be milked. Now, obviously, Dean, we call it a parlor, but you have special fancy robots. So tell the students about what they're seeing.
Yeah, so this is the outside of the robots, we would call it, where the cows come into to wait their turn to actually go in the robot. And now we're inside the robot room on the other side. So the cows walk into this box, and the arm that you see there sticking out at an angle, it will start to go through the process to prep the cow to get her milk.
Got it. Okay. So some of the students were asking, how much milk is each cow making in a day?
So on our farm here, we're averaging a little over 80 pounds per cow per day. That's how it's measured here on the farm.
Okay.
But to put that in perspective for you, a gallon jug of milk at the store that you buy is 8.6 gallons. So if your cow is milking 86 pounds per day, that means they're given 10-gallon jugs full of milk in one day.
Got it. So students, you can practice your math. So Dean, how many pounds did you say your cows are making again?
We're in the low 80s, but easier math, make it 86.
Okay, 86. So right, students, we're going to take our total pounds divided by that 8.6 number, and that's going to give us how many gallons each cow makes in a day. So about 10 gallons here on Dean's farm. Now we're seeing the robots start to work. Dean, what are they doing first? Are they prepping?
Yes. Okay. So the black hose you see in there now, the arm has a 3D camera on it that it goes in there and it finds where the quarter is to put the wash cup on. The wash cup uses a combination of iodine, which is a iodine base, along with water, and it uses a swirling motion to wash it off and then it also air dries it. So after the wash goes through and it cleans all the dirt off, then it blows air on it to dry it. And in that same process, it also force strips it. That means that it pulls a little bit of milk out of the quarter, and all of that goes down the drain then. And that same wash cup will go do each quarter on the cow. So as you see it moving, it did the two back ones first, and then it did the front one on the other side.
Got it.
And now it's going to come do the one there that you can see. That's the last one. Now, when that comes off, then it'll grab the milk cups to get ready to put the milker on to milk the cow.
Oh, wow. Now, okay, how long does this whole process take for a cow to be milked? Because we hear about cows being milked multiple times per day. So we'll start
Yes.
there, Dean. How many times a day do the cows go to the robot to get milked, and how long does it take each time?
Yes. So on our farm, the cows get sorted by the smart gate, which means that they have to have milking permission to come to the robot. So if the cow comes to the gate, I'm sorry, and does not have milking permission, the gate will let her on over that she can just eat. If she needs milk, she comes in to wait her turn to go in the robot. So it does vary from cow to cow. On our farm, we're averaging about 2.5 milkings per cow per day. The cows that are earlier lactation milk more often. The cows that are later lactation milk less often. The whole process here, we're running about 6 minutes and 25 to 30 seconds per cow average box time, we call it. So that's from the time they enter into the robot till the milking process is complete and they're released.
Wow. So these cows don't spend a lot of their day in the parlor. Maybe only if we said 7 minutes multiplied by 2.5 students. I bet you could do the math on that one. Now, so we figure anywhere from 14 to 20 minutes a day. That's
Yes.
it.
Yes.
Okay. So the rest of the day, they're doing all those other things that Farmer Dean talked about, laying down, eating, resting. So very little time at work,
Yes.
if you will. Okay. Got it. Now, it looks like this cow's finished milking. Now, does the machine sense when it's time to come off?
Yes. It is sensed by the flow. So when the milk flow going through the flow meter, when the volume gets low enough, it knows that that cow is finished and it retracts the hoses off of them. And as you see them pulling off there, one question I get sometimes again is if that hurts. It usually there's very little pain. It's the settings are that the vacuum releases at the right time so that it does not actually fall onto the floor. It pulls it off and keeps it hanging.
Got it. Got it. So we've got another cow who's headed in to be milked. We can answer some of our students' questions. So some of the students were asking about what they see in the grocery store, Dean, which like 1% or 2% milk. So what percent fat content, because that's what it refers to, are these cows making?
So right now we are running about a 4.6% butter fat. So essentially that would give you like there again, do the math, like a 96.5 or whatever,
Right.
96%. So you would have like a 4.5% milk
Okay.
instead of a 1% or a 2% or 3% milk.
Got
We're looking at 4. That's if you would drink it right out of the tank today.
Got
That would
it.
be raw whole milk. On this farm, we'd be running a 4.6.
Okay. But what you students see in the grocery store is pasteurized and adjusted or levels balanced, right? Because
Yes.
every farm is different.
Yes, that's
Not
right.
every cow makes 4 point whatever percent.
Yes.
So that's a little bit on how that whole milking system works. Now, some of the students were also asking, we see obviously the cow being milked, but where's the milk going?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. So the milk from here it goes into a receiver jar that is on the robot. And when this cow is finished, then it is pumped to the tank. So we have a big stainless steel bulk tank here, is 3,000 gallons that it'll hold total. And it has a cooling system on that keeps the milk refrigerated so that it doesn't spoil and things like that until the milk truck can come and pick it up and take it to the processing plant.
Got it. So one of our students did see that our what we'd call maybe our finishing prep there. And they wanted to make sure that that was an iodine tincture, not blood, right?
Yes,
Well,
that's
so,
right.
So you students might have seen that kind of like dark red color. That's actually like iodine that we would use to clean a cut, similar
Yes.
to that.
Yes.
So it's actually, Dean, help keep them clean, right? After
Yes.
they leave?
It
Okay.
disinfects.
Gotcha.
It's not only works as like an emollient or like I like to think of it as like chapstick or lipstick type stuff.
Oh, gotcha.
You can think of it like that. It's also a teat conditioner where like it keeps the skin conditioned like it should be. And then it also is a protectant. It's a disinfectant.
Got it. Okay. And Dean, remember, Farmer Dean mentioned the transponder that those cows wear on their ears determines if the gates open or close. So
Yes.
that's awfully fancy. So it knows, oh, if she needs to do something or do something else. So Dean, you must have been working really early this morning milking these cows. So show us what you're up to right now.
Yeah, so we talked about where the milk goes to the bulk tank. This is in the process of that. It goes through a filter, and it's a little filter sock that we put on that all the milk goes through.
Okay.
So there's no dirt ends up into the bulk tank. Perhaps if the robot wouldn't get something quite clean or anything, it just filters all the dirt out. That the end product is always safe and clean. That's what we're after here.
Got it. Got
And
it.
we change it after every wash. It can be changed, which it washes 3 times a day. So
Okay.
we usually change it at least twice a day. It just depends how things fall together.
Got it. Okay. So when the cow, obviously when you milk your cows, they're disinfected in the beginning, then the milking machine's put on. And of course, nobody's touching them, right, with human hands. It's
Right.
it's all just through the pipeline.
Yes.
In case as a check, you have an extra filter.
Yes.
But then it goes into the bulk tank, and
Yeah.
now we see it's already nice and cold. Now, how does it get cold so fast, Dean?
So there's 2 ways we do it here. One, we have the plate cooler, which basically means we're running cold water from the well
Okay.
through the pipes that cools it down quickly, but it doesn't get it the whole way down to 39 degrees that you just saw there on the tank. So there is a refrigerant system on the tank
Okay.
that cools it down to 37 to 39 degrees is the range where we try to keep the milk.
And of course, we want it nice and cold, right, to keep it
Yes.
safe, to make sure there's no growth, right? We want to keep our milk refrigerated until obviously then it goes to the processing plant and ends up pasteurized and in your grocery store.
Yes.
But students, it's time for you to take a quiz. So let's pull up that quiz right about now. Okay, while our students are getting into that quiz, Dean, our students have so many questions today.
Okay.
So some of them students were asking, how often do the cows have their hoof trimmed? We just saw a lot of hooves on screen.
Yes, yes, we do get the hoof trimmer in. We probably try to do it about every 5 or 6 months. The goal would be is that every cow would get it twice a year. I can't say that always is 100%, but that's the goal. We try to trim them at least twice a year.
Got it. And now another student was asking, based on that, how much does a cow actually weigh?
Well, it varies there too. Cows can weigh anywhere from about an adult cow that I'm talking about here that we milk, anywhere from 1,200 pounds to 1,500 pounds. So they're a big animal.
Got it. Now, another student was asking, just wanted to make sure it doesn't hurt when the cows are milked, right? It's actually comfortable for them.
That's
I
right.
think. Okay.
That's right. Everything that we do for them is very user friendly. It's not pain inflicting. If there's anything, it would be more like a tickle.
Gotcha.
And it might make them like move a little bit because it's maybe just a little bit uncomfortable, but not in a pain way.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Now, some of the other students were asking, how old is the oldest cow on your farm?
Oh my, that's a good question. We probably have some here that are at least 10 years old. Probably pretty close. Now, maybe not quite. 8 would maybe be a better number.
Got it. Okay, and since we're headed to the calf barn next, I thought we would ask this question. Some of the students were asking, do you have all girl cows on the farm? Do you have
Yes.
boy cows? How does that work?
Yes, we have all girl cows here. Again, the female cows are the ones that produce milk, and the milk production is how we make a living. The milk is what we sell to pay our bills and to make a living. So we have all females here.
So, and we'll remind our students too, in order for a cow to produce milk, she has to have a calf.
Yes.
Right? That's the beginning of that process, which is why we're going to see the calf barn very soon. Students, get excited. So, another student was asking, how many calves will you have each year? So how many calves are born on the farm?
Well, we aim to have every cow have a calf once a year. So with my total of 150 cows, that's a pretty close number of what we do.
Okay.
But again, we just raise the females. So we don't have quite that many here. So there's probably on average anywhere from 65 to 75 heifer calves, female calves that we raise here every year.
Wonderful. Okay, Dean, it's time for the cutest stop of the day. We're headed off to the calf barn. So let's head over there right now. Now, Dean told us a little bit that he's aiming to have obviously close to 150 calves born, but that there's only about anywhere from 60 to 80 that stay here on the farm because those are the girl calves or heifer calves. So that process looks like it starts right here. Where are we, Dean?
Yes, this is what we call the pre-fresh pen. One of the terms that farmers use is a fresh cow. That simply means that she's starting her lactation. She just had a calf. So this is where we try to bring them to this pen about 3 weeks before their due date. And then we put them in this pen, wait for the calf to be born. And then as you can see, we put the calves in the pen here right there beside them. And then we feed them with a bottle for a couple of days until they go out to the calf hutches that we'll see here in a bit.
Got it. Okay, so Dean, you don't actually keep the calves right in with their cow. Why do we remove them or separate them?
Yeah, so there's a couple reasons. One is it's very possible for cows to lay on their babies that they can get injured or hurt soon after they're born. The other thing is it's very important to get the colostrum, which colostrum is the first milk from the cow after she has her calf, and it's extremely rich in nutrients for the calf. So usually as soon as we can do it, as soon as it's feasible, we will milk that fresh cow, the one that just calved, and feed her milk to the calf to get those antibodies is the main thing we're after to get her immune system going.
Okay, so calves, unlike people, are born maybe without that immune system.
Yes.
So we need to get it to them from that first milk. And by basically putting them in a separate pen, you're able to really make sure, double check, show, prove that they had
Yes.
the right amount.
Yes.
Okay,
And
got it.
also keeping it clean. That's
Also
very
keeping it
important too. If the calf is in with the cow, it's very easy for the calf to get dirt in its mouth and things like that you prefer it didn't have.
Got it. So now we're seeing the calf pens. Okay, so once calves got their healthy start in the first 12 hours, it looks like they're headed off to live with other calves. And what are we seeing here on screen?
Yeah, so this is what we call we actually call these the hotels. They're little individual pens here. So the calves stay by themselves, and for us, it's a good, I don't know, 4 weeks or so. Then they'll get grouped into a small group. They'll still be on milk. But when they're soon after birth, they're in a pen like this by themselves. That way we can monitor them. We know what each calf eats. Because obviously if they don't eat, that's when we think that they're suspicion that they're sick or things like that we want to keep after.
Okay, got it. And it looks like they're laying on some soft, fluffy bedding there. What is that?
Yeah, we put straw in the calf hutches. Straw is a byproduct of wheat. Wheat would be used to make bread and flour, things like that. This is the stalk from that we bale up into round bales or little bales, and we put in the pen for them to lay on. Clean and dry bedding is very important for a healthy calf.
Got it. Got it. Okay. And now, how much milk are each of these calves drinking per day in their first 2 months of life?
So we aim for about 2 gallons a day, a gallon in the morning and a gallon in the evening. When the calves are less than 2 weeks old, we probably don't go quite that heavy just because they're not big enough to handle it quite then yet. But by the time they're 2 weeks old, they're drinking a gallon twice a day.
And then, actually, some of the students were curious, Steve. When does a cow have her first calf? How old is she?
About 2 years old when they become an adult. When they're about 2 years old and become an adult, we typically they're ready to have a calf and begin their lactating process.
Got it. And some other students were asking, we saw those calves that were just born and they were already standing up. How soon does a calf take its first steps?
Not very long. Sometimes within less than an hour, you'll see the calf standing up from the time they're born. And definitely, if you 4 to 5 hours, they can be frisky and run around like that. You almost have to catch them.
Oh my gosh. Well, how big are they if you're trying to chase them around? How big are they when they're born?
Well, on average, they're running towards 100 pounds. Some of them might be an 85 or 90, but you can sometimes have a 100-pound or even 110-pound calf isn't unheard of for sure.
Got it.
So they're good size when they're born, yes.
So if you students can imagine, that might be heavier than some of you.
Yes.
Right when they're born on day one. Okay, another student we had to ask, because we are headed into this holiday break in the holiday season. For those of you in the Northeast, it might be cold. So we're seeing some of these calves, they look a little warmer than we are. Do they get jackets in the wintertime?
Yes, we do. Usually for us, it ends up being towards Christmas here in the Northeast before I'll put jackets on the calves. Obviously the weather plays a big factor in that. But as you can see here in the summertime when we did the video, the backs of the barns here are open because ventilation is important too. So it used to be we thought we needed to keep a lot of these animals warm, but we found that fresh air is almost more important than warmth. While we can't let them get too cold, that's a very important fact. We also have to be careful. We can't let them get stuffy air where they're, not getting fresh air, then they end up with lung problems such as pneumonia or things like that.
Okay, got it. So that was some of our students were asking, like, what happens when a cow gets sick or a calf gets sick, or how do they get sick? So sometimes if it's maybe a little not fresh enough air, or I mean, I would imagine, are they just like us? Can they share germs with each other?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And is that why, do you have them in individual housing?
That's a big part of it. Yes.
Okay.
Whenever, especially because they're just like a baby where they're more susceptible to diseases when they're little. So like if we can put them in individual pens and keep them separated, then they don't pass germs to each other. We tend to be able to keep them healthier that way.
Got it. So they start in their own pens, and then it looks like they go to maybe small groups.
Yes, so groups
Okay.
of 2 or 3,
Okay.
not very big at all.
So students, you may experience that you started in a smaller classroom and your classes get bigger as you get older. Okay, very cool. Okay, students, you have another quiz to take and you have more questions to answer that we will get here with Farmer Dean. So one of the questions was actually asking another thoughts on winter, which is how do we keep cows safe and warm in the winter? I know we talked about the freestall barn, but the cows aren't going outside, right?
No, that's right. So our cows are in the barn in the winter, and as you could see there from the freestall barn earlier in the video, we have what we call curtains on the side of the barn, which we can put up and down as the weather permits. So because cows are such a big animal, they have lots of body heat within themselves. So again, we've learned that the issue isn't keeping them warm as much as it is keeping fresh air. So the curtains, when it's cold and windy, we'll close the barn that it'll stay nice temperature in the barn. Cows prefer it to be their optimum temperature to outside would be like 40 or 45 degrees. That's when they're the most comfortable. Cows are also designed when it gets really cold, they tend to eat more so that their body will create more heat to keep them warm. So again, as the time of year changes, sometimes we change the ration a little bit, their diet, so that they can stay healthy in the winter. So keeping animals warm, especially an adult cow, that's not a real big problem on a farm.
Got it. Now we had another student asking about, do cows run out of milk? So maybe Dean, share with the students how long a cow produces milk.
Yes. So cows would milk for a long time, but yes, they will eventually dry up. Their body is designed that whenever they have the baby calf, they are designed to produce milk to feed that calf. So after that calf would be old enough that it no longer needs milk, the cow is going to drop off and not milk very much.
Got it.
So on the farm, we impregnate the cows for the next calf. So at the end of her lactation, about 60 days before she's ready to have a calf, we turn her what we call a dry cow. That means we quit milking her. She goes on vacation for 2 months approximately before she has her next calf and starts the process back over.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Now, another question that some of the students were asking about is if farming is a dangerous job.
Some days, yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, there can be a lot of dangerous things on the farm. We try to take a lot of safety precautions, and we try not to get in with the animals, especially if they're ones that aren't very tame. Sometimes you have to get in the pen and do things with the animals, but we'll try to restrain them in some way or another that it's safe for us to get close to them. Probably the bigger danger on farms is the farm equipment, lots of moving things and things you could get crushed under or run over or things like that. But yes, it can be a dangerous job, but we try to be as safe as we can. It's kind of like driving your car down the road. You do the best you can to be safe, but there's always accidents that still happen.
Gotcha. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, students, we have seen 3 different parts of the farm. We have learned so much about Dean's farm and how he milks his cows. Big takeaways that we saw today, students, definitely that those cows, that barn is designed for them to be comfortable with deep bedded sand and all kinds of wonderful amenities. The other thing we saw was, of course, with our milking parlor, how the robots are taking care of it. Again, keeping cows comfortable with that vacuum pulsation we learned about and the filters to help keep milk clean and safe. Also awesome. And then we get to see the calves and how they're cared for.
Yep.
And it looks like they grow really fast. Oh, we might need to share one more question from the students with how much are your calves growing every day? How many pounds?
Yeah, I think we average or try to average like 2 pounds per calf per calf per day. Yeah, average daily gain.
Could you imagine students growing 2 pounds every day? That's a lot.
Especially when they're young.
Yes.
When they get older, that slows down.
Got it. Okay. So we have learned so much today, students. We thank you for joining us. We're going to go ahead and check out a preview actually for 2 weeks from now. We have one more tour before we finish up our virtual farm tours for the season. So let's roll that and check out our preview for the next tour.
Hi, I'm Jed Barnes. Welcome to Cobar Dairy, my family's dairy farm in Mount Upton, New York. We're going to host a virtual farm tour on December 12th, so feel free to click on the link below to register.
Wow, very cool. Obviously, more information there. You guys can scan that. Now, Dean, before we let our students go for the day, we have one more question, which is a very important question. What is your favorite dairy product to have during the day?
Definitely chocolate milk for me, for sure.
Chocolate milk. So you can type in your favorite dairy product before you say goodbye to us today. We hope to see you at another tour, and thank you so much for joining us. Have a wonderful Thanksgiving.